Have you been doing conventions in the past, or just kind of thinking of trying out for a while?
I have, before pandemic, I did a bunch of conventions for a couple of years when I had the opportunity. Pandemic hit, we all, went inside and went underground, and after we came out of that, I decided that I would come out and do some more conventions. Everybody's here in the state, well, in San Antonio a year ago, because I remember wanting for many years to go to the Alamo, and I finally went to the Alamo. I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah, for me.
What made you want to go and check that out?
Well, I lived in George Strait.
We got George, we got who else do we have that live here? And a bunch of them in Austin too. There's probably over more than you expect. Can I just say that I've been waiting all week until this morning to watch this week's episode of Better Call Saul. Any fans of that? I wanted it fresh in my mind. Does it feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders? You don't have to hold any more secrets. Does it feel great now that the episode Breaking Bad, spoilers bad, I'm sorry, has aired?
No, it doesn't feel like a weight's been lifted at all because there's never a weight there.
Really?
No.
There wasn't any secrecy you could talk about?
There's a lot of secrecy, my business, because, we don't want to spoil it for all the fans. I never worry about having the whole secrets because I'm always tap dancing around them. I never want to tell anyone what's going to happen. And when people ask me, you have these spoilers, they say, well, I'll tell you everything. And then you watch their face drop, and I laugh. No, I never feel hindered or handcuffed by, or afraid of that slip of telling any part of the story. No. So there's no way it's been lifted off. I love doing Breaking Bad as much as I do Better Call Saul. Saul has been the latest incarnation, a very different show, very progressive, very with our times as Breaking Bad has been, and it's a show for you.
When did you know, after Breaking Bad had ended, that they would be extending the story of Gustavo? And what did that mean to you to get to tell more story about Freeman?
Well, they didn't extend the story of Gustavo. They extended the story of and the genre of his world. Better Call Saul is an extension of Saul, who was also Gene, who was also Saul Goodman is that lawyer who had a life after Breaking Bad because he was the connection between the edgy, nefarious Salamancas and Gustavo Fring and a link to Walter White. It was a wonderful opportunity for me. You asked me questions. The question was, when did I know? It was years later that they came to me and asked me to join Saul. It was the same trajectory, the same timing as was Breaking Bad. They had started Saul. When they started it, they didn't ask me to come back. It wasn't until the end of the second season, beginning of the third, that they asked if I would come back and join the cast.
And we're all very happy about that, am I right? They certainly are happy.
They do. I'm happy they're happy.
There's also another show you've been on recently. I think it's called The Mandalorian. I think they've heard of it.
I think so.
We have some questions from the audience. They've been very nice in giving me some questions to ask you. The first of which, in relation to The Mandalorian, did you ever feel guilty about being so mean to Baby Grogu?
Not one bit. I will squash that big-eared bastard.
That's wonderful. Can we talk about how that came about? Did you get a call from Favreau? What did they say to you? Did you even need to hear anything? Did you just say, yes, it's Star Wars? The answer is going to be yes.
I got a call from John Favreau, who I worked with on Revolution years ago, another great television show. He collaborated with Aaron Crickey, who does another show that I am currently on called The Boys.
So who's bad in the house?
So John called me and he said, I have good news. I have bad news. I said, you want the good news first? I said, yeah. He said, I wrote a role for you in The Mandalorian. I said, great. So what's the bad news? The bad news is I don't have a lot of money to pay you. And I said, John, it's Disney, it's you. He said,
there's money somewhere.
Yeah. And he said, it's all going up on the screen. We're making a big volume. It's going to be a very technologically advanced show, and that's where the money's going. I said, great. And so I said, so John, I have one request. He said, what is that? I said, I have to have a cake. Give me a cake, please. So, it was almost an immediate yes, and of course I said yes, without pause, acknowledging that world and that universe is someplace that I wanted to play in. But especially, I wanted to play in that world with Giancarlo and David.
Two of the best, two of the absolute best. As Moff Gideon, you got to wield a very unique weapon, the Darksaber. Did you have to do your own training with that? Did you do any stunts whatsoever, or did they try to take that away from you when those news came up?
So to answer your first question, did I do any training? Yeah, I found myself in the kitchen with a broomstick. I mean, that's how we do it, baby. With a rod, you gotta fly, get on the broom and fly. If you have to use a saber, or even a long gun, a broomstick is always a great choice for practice with. And it's less harmful than anything else, too. So I did have a broomstick in my hand once in a while to try to figure out what those moves might be. In that particular, all of the episodes of Mandalorian, I do my own stuff. And so I'm really proud of that. Some great stories surrounding it. On the day, Lateef Crowder is the stunt man who actually does all of the Mandalorian stunts. And on the day, they had our scene that was going to happen. Lateef was over in the corner practicing with the intention that he'd be doing it with another stuntman. The guy came out, he was a stuntman / stand-in, and he was 30 years younger than me. He was 30 pounds lighter than me, and he was standing there with sloped together shoulders in the exact same costume. And I looked at him and I went, And John came out and said, John, take a look at this guy. He's a really sweet dude. But look at him physically. And John went, And so I said, I guess I better get to work, huh? And he said, yeah, I guess you better.
Oh, man. You're the star. Put some padding on that guy. Okay. In The Mandalorian, you are an amazing villain, says one of your beloved fans, as well as the boys. Do you have a favorite contemporary villain?
I get a chance to watch so little television. And it's my favorite contemporary villain would be someone I work with today, and his name would be, and he's a nemesis of mine as well, but I love him being
Anthony Starr.
You are not a god. You are simply bad product. I say that daily. I forgive you, and I know it's been a lot. Instead of getting angry at someone who rubs me the wrong way, I just look at them and stare at the eye. I give them the gut stare, and I use the stare at your line. They look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, get away from me, you're just a fly.
There's been some things I've heard. You like to stay in character on set most of the time. It tends to intimidate some of the crew around you. Is this true?
It is true. I mean, I don't mean to be intimidating. I think we, as human beings, sometimes are afraid of our own organic, truthful, honest power. And we, as we watch our favorite characters, villainous or otherwise, we recognize on screen, in television, and in film, we recognize that there's something that we want. You have something I want. And that's a famous Moff Gideon line, or at least I'm trying to make it famous. And what that is I want the confidence to know and to be able to feel my own organic energy. and that is valuable. I want to be seen and understand that energy inside me means something to someone. And I won't feel that unless I know it means something to me. And that energy comes out of ego. It's not out of power. It's out of confidence that I am an original and I have something to offer and to share. And so I contend that what I've started to channel in the roles I play is not necessarily a meanness, although I do play characters who have their own agenda to fulfill. I, as a human being, have my own agenda, which is I believe that intention is everything. And I believe that what we're looking for is our own embrace and gratification, that we can accept ourselves for who we are. And yes! And that person is beautiful. And that person is smart, intelligent, inquisitive, in wonder, excited about life. And therefore you have nothing to prove but to be who you are.
Amen.
Love yourself, be yourself.
Beautiful stuff. Y'all didn't know we were going to Gustavo Church today. I have a question again for Moff Gideon, and I'm being fair asking it, but I know what the answer may be. Even though Gideon was set to be executed for his crimes, I'm going to change this up a little bit, don't you know? What are the chances we may see Moff Gideon in a future season?
The chances are high.
The fateful return.
I gotta tell you, just to share something with you about spoiling anything. That season 3 of The Mandalorian is off the chain. It'll be amazing.
And that's the entire Comic-Con weekend. Thank you. Good night. I'm so excited. I can't read right now. You have so many amazing roles over the years. I know this is like asking who's your favorite child, but is there one that you just look so forward to playing?
I answer this question with a big thud because I always answer that my favorite role is the one I'm working on now. Because I don't wish to live in past successes. I can enjoy them, they can inform all who I am, and of course my well-rounded career. But what excites me is to be in the present. So I'm currently, hey Michael Jackson in the audience. Michael Jackson. He's my favorite too. It's good to see you again. I'm gonna come to your concert tonight, okay? Will you come give me your private concert with my favorite? I love it. If we're present in the moment, we love what we're doing now. Do I have some favorites? Yes, I do. I love Night on Earth, a spirit movie like Giancarlo Esposito that probably some of you have seen, but not many of you. I love The Usual Suspects, because it's an iconic film. I love Do the Right Thing, because it changed how we look at film for African Americans and Black people, and it woke up the world to see how some other culture lived. So I do have ones I'm very fond of, but to be in the present is the best for me. I'm currently working on a show called The Driver, based on a British show of 3 2-hour episodes of a series, limited. We've taken it and put it in America. We've developed it for hopefully a 5-year run. It'll be with one of my favorite networks ever, AMC.
Absolutely.
And it'll be announced soon. And we start shooting on Monday. So I'm excited.
You have cemented yourself as one of the top villain actors of our generation. I know you've probably seen the fans have been casting you as several comic book villains in both the Marvel and DC side of things. If you were given the choice today, anybody at all, doesn't matter if there's somebody playing in, who would you choose to play a villain in a future role?
Well, I'm going to back up a minute because I love the guys at Marvel, and we've been in a room together on the TV side, and I love what they do and how they capture the market and audience in their films. I attest that Mandalorian is so successful and Star Wars because it returns to mythology, the art of the story, the hero and heroine's journey. Little do we know that stories that we love the most they get our attention because they refer to a mythological journey. It's the journey of the hero. It's the journey of the heroine. Our lives can be that journey if we're able to dream big dreams. Not only is it enough to dream big dreams, you have to put those dreams in action. And to put those dreams in action, it takes your attention. It takes your intention. So to sit every day and map out your day and say, yeah, I got to go to work from a 9 to 5, but I'm going to take this 10 minutes and I'm going to put into the universe what I want for my life, my career, and the world. And that formulates your intention. And so what you do today determines your tomorrow. It's as simple as that. What we've forgotten and should be and might be poised to remember and reminded of, as I hope that when I forget on a daily basis that someone out there would remind me, is that you can do whatever it is you want to do if you put your intention and your attention on that dream. So, I have not worked for Marvel yet. I've been in a room with them and talked to them. And to answer your question, I think what they do is on the lines of that mythological journey that Joe Campbell talked about, who happened to be a friend of George Lucas, that George Lucas put into his stories. They do the same thing. It is our dream and intention to save the world, our environment, to save the world from greedy corporations, to uplift the world and have leadership that thinks about us for the people, by the people, which means that those future leaders are in this room right now.
Amen.
Right? And so we want to inspire each other. We want to lift each other up, because what happens when that happens is then we actually do have a vision and a dream for a new world. Then we can actually start to reverse all the things that we have destroyed that will choke us if we don't change how we move through this universe. So, there's the talk of Magneto. There's the talk of Dr. Freeze.
Oh my.
There has been talk of, who else are they talking about over there?
Dr.
Doom.
Victor Von Doom.
Doom. And there is Professor X.
So, pick one.
Pick one. I'm going to go for something that is a little bit different. I'm going to go and put it out in the universe that it is Professor X.
You heard it here first.
Fans have been dying to hear that, I gotta tell you. It's not in the bag, it's that all the fans, the majority of fans are saying, hey, that would be great. And I want to say, keep going, because that affects them. They hear that. And I love Patrick Stewart, who played that role, and I think they want to re-envision it. It turns out that they may be ready sooner than later to do that. I think they're not quite ready for that Magneto or Freeze. So, you know, I'm hoping that when they are ready to do Xavier X, that they'll be talking to me, and I'll make myself happy and all of you.
Just a real quick pulse check. If Giancarlo plays Professor X in a future film, would you guys like that? I want you to have a good time. You deserve it. You've been providing entertainment for us for many, many years, sir. Can I need to ask you about Tony Dalton, who plays Lalo on Better Call Saul. Any Lalo fans? I have never been more terrified of someone who smiles so much on screen. How fun or how magical was it to work off of Tony so much? You are both tremendous actors, and you're both in these extremely intimidating and ferocious roles, but you both do it in such different sides of the spectrum. Please tell me that you just love working with Tony, and give us some stories about that.
I adore Tony Dalton. That's exactly right. Anyone who can do what he does and with such ease and grace is really a master. Tony is an easygoing guy who has an edge to him when you see him on camera, and can certainly scare the heck out of you. He's been a formidable opponent on Better Call Saul. We yearned for more to do at the end of Breaking Bad. We had a few scenes here and there. I think we had something in the chicken chiller, and from that day on, we had another scene somewhere else. We just wanted more, and it wasn't out of our desire to have more. It was out of the writers wanting to create mystery, suspense, and angst for the audience as to when that might be. So this season's been great to be able to have some moments with him that have been substantial and formidable and really quite wonderful. Back in Breaking Bad, we had our scene in the chicken chiller. I looked at this guy and I went, he was interesting and affable, always affable. And I thought, oh, he's got a bit of my style going on. And so I had to play against him in that scene because Gus is trying to cover something up, and he's onto it, but I'm quite gracious and give nothing away, hold my cards close to the vest, have a very poker face. As we move through this season of Better Call Saul, he becomes someone who unnerves Gus and absolutely upsets him in every way. And we had fewer scenes together, but scenes when you're with an actor who is chasing you and you always see that particular character being your nemesis, but you're never in scenes together, you envision their face. You envision their actions and their physicality. I think it's probably the same that he would do for me, because we actually are together, but we're very opposed. So to finally get in our final scenes, and no spoilers for those who haven't seen this season, it was wonderful to play those final moments, because we actually were able to look at each other's eyes and interact. He's a masterful actor and a beautiful human being, but it takes really, really good guys to play the really, really bad ones.
Correct me if I'm wrong, in Better Call Saul, this has been more, it's taken more physical scenes for you. Gus has gotten his hands much dirtier himself than he ever did in Breaking Bad. He had a few kills of his own, if I'm not mistaken. Was that something you enjoyed doing? Being more ferocious as a villain? Seeing Gus get his own hands dirty? How was that for you?
I love to kill people. It's my favorite thing ever. It gives me such joy. There's something about a villain that you, especially Gustavo. Hey Josh, I see you, big boy. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you. There's something wonderful about not showing who that person is, because I'm against gratuitous violence in film and in television. It lessens the power and the effect of the emotion that you're trying to portray. And Gus is not about just killing, although Lalo is not either, but enjoys it a lot more.
Yes.
So when I had the opportunity in 401 Box Cutter of Breaking Bad to elicit my own power in taking a life, it was for a reason. My organization, my family was compromised. Victor was seen it broke my heart. If you look at that scene closely, you'll see in my actions the sorrow and sadness with which it took inside me to kill Victor. There's some tapes I'm sure they didn't use which really showed more of that. But I had to take Victor and send a message, so it was a dual killing. I do like it when you're able to see a man who cares somewhat for people, but has to take care of the whole. In our world, a lot of the time, and even on this stage possibly, people, it's a wonderful moment to be all about the I and the me. We are taught and trained through advertising to be told that if I wear this and look this way, I am beautiful, and that if I do these things, I'm successful. If my bank account has a certain number in it, I am then going to be respected. So and how many times can you pass a mirror without looking? Right?
We are programmed.
We're programmed to be a lot about the I and the me. Get out of my way, I come first. But I attest that our lives really would love to feel how it is to be in service. Because all the money in the world is not going to allow me to cut to the front of the line. All the money, in more ways than one. There's no cutting to the front of the line to get the message faster than anyone else. There's no cutting in front of the line to get to heaven quicker than the next guy. Because my record of my past, of what I have done, will precede me. So then it is already spoken, it is already done, it is Mach 2, it is written. So we are to be in service so that we realize that the only way for us to be happy is to be about, not be about the I and the me, but to really embrace the we and the us.
Yeah, but a clap for this man. Take me to church. I have it's kind of a silly question, but I am very curious to know, when will they open a Los Pollos Hermanos in San Antonio?
I've been dying to open Los Pollos Hermanos. I can't quite use that because Disney owns it, and so it's not possible. I lived in Austin for many years, about 5 years, with my youngest daughter who came there to live with me when she was 10. I do love Texas. For many, many reasons. I do hate Texas for many, many reasons. Yeah, you got that, huh? But I don't hold it against Texans. And I don't hold it against anybody that every state in the union has one problem or another in one way or another. We're human beings. We're here to embrace and love each other. And I am a fan of Austin and a fan of Texas. There is, however, a Gus's Chicken in Austin. And, so I could use Gus is famous. I could use, Gus is here. I'd love to open a chicken joint. It's not on my cards right at the moment, but you never know if the show could be extended to the rise of Gus.
I think they missed it. Say that
The rise of Gus. And then chicken would definitely be in all of our futures.
I was surprised to learn this week that there's an actual Yelp profile for Los Pollos Hermanos. I don't know how that got there. We have another Gustavo question. This is from Carter. Was it tough transitioning from nice guy restaurant owner to cold, calculating drug pen? Is that like a switch for you?
It is a switch. I loved when I read the first script because I had worn the black clip-on tie years ago in military school. And I attest that the hero is what we all ascribe to or want to dream to be. But I also believe that the anti-hero The villain, the bad guy, is simply a fallen hero that nobody listens to. And in our lives, don't we want to be seen? Don't we want to be seen like for who we really are? But if we're unable to be who we really are, we act as if. So then we're not showing anyone who we really are. And if you really want to be seen, then that means being seen for all of your good, all of your gray, all of your light, all of your dark, all of your good, all of your bad. And you have to trust that people will understand. So we hide what we don't want to have seen. And what I love about Gus was the stage direction that Vince Gilligan wrote, hiding in plain sight. Yes. I thought about human beings who are hiding. I thought about my own self, who's hiding. Who wants to be seen when they're irritated and tired and they're not so nice? But that's part of who we are sometimes when that situation and circumstance overtakes us. The challenge is to play against that. I love making that switch. Going from a guy who's, can I help you? Would you like a refill? Is everything to your liking? That's the guy that's in service. That's the angel of who I really am.
Yes.
To the guy who says, gotta be what I'm doing. Cue him. Right? Get that obstacle out of my way. And maybe what I'm trying to say is that if you could get the obstacle of you, the obstacle that's in your way, the you, because many of us, not everyone, talks about the theys in our world. You know, they want to let me do this, and they told me this, and they shut the door in my face. And I attest that they, if you could really figure out what that really means to you, I'm a guy with I have a problem with authority. And so I'm the one who relates to the days. And I always have. Tell me to go left, I'm going right. You know what I mean? I don't want to do what I'm told.
Yes.
But if you can't, you can't lead unless you are able to follow. You can't be a part of a group of men or women or human beings unless you're completely willing to not leave a man behind. You can't be a part of the economic success and share in the pot of gold unless you're willing to split that pot of gold up between everyone. And that's just how life works. The more you give, the more you get.
Amen. Amen. Round of applause. Luke Scott was a very nuanced character, very few lines, limited nonverbals. How difficult is it as an actor playing a role like this in which you have to get things across with minimal action?
I love that because it's a training day. I just had a 12-page day on another show that I do called Godfather of Harlem, where I played Adam Clayton Powell Jr. I did 3 episodes in one day, 3 different directors, 6 costume changes, 12 pages, unheard of in television. And I started to get like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do all this? I had to memorize all this stuff, and that was all fine. It's what I do. And then the light went off somewhere around 9 o'clock in the morning after a 5 o'clock call and a 2-hour makeup. I went, this is a training day. This is what I love. This is not a performing day. I was so nervous to be. We put a lot of onus and a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yes, we do.
And if you took some of that pressure away and said, this is a day for me to learn. This is a training day, is what I call it. So for me to play a character who exhibits everything in his eyes and very few words is a training day. Because I'm Italian, Giancarlo Esposito, I speak with my hands and gesticulate and all that. Gus does not. Gus,
that must be tough.
It's a practice. It's not tough. I've, in a way, mastered it now. But my favorite episode is 401 because I say nothing. My actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've also Jump from the front of the camera to behind the camera. You directed an episode of Better Call Saul. How will this inform future roles that you take?
I always feel informed by directing because I feel like some other part of me comes alive. I become awake as I'm asking all of you and the audience to do today. I have become awake again because it's another part of your brain that works. We don't use all of our brain facility. Proven scientifically, we haven't triggered ourselves or trained our heart, soul, and mind. So if we're able to put all that together, it would be great. Directing this episode of Axe and Grind, episode 606, was a wonderful experience for me because I was able to not worry about how I looked. I walked on the set and I had shorts and long socks with an old nasty sweater on and a jacket, and the crew didn't even recognize who I was. They went, "Oh, who's that? Oh, yeah, it's our director." Because my brain was focused on painting a picture, right? It was like you see those people, you go to museums or you go to the park, and someone's sitting there with an easel, and they're completely focused, and they're painting an oak tree that's sitting in an actual setting, and they're not paying attention to anything else around them except for the beauty of what they see. And as a director, you have to come out of the vision of how you want everything to look, and you have to be specific about it. It takes work to do what I do. It takes work to do what each and every one of you do. It's taking for granted that you put your attention on that work in a certain way. And so if you're not pleased by how you're going through your day, no matter what work you do, I attest to it's all creative. You can rediscover it by reminding yourself. I watched some ladies get on a plane this morning. I was at the airport at 6 a.m. in the morning. I boarded the plane at 5:25. I watched 4 flight attendants get on the plane. The first 2 walked up, and I could tell they were older, more seasoned, had done it a long time, and they were kind of walking slowly and kind of looked at each other and kind of a little grumpy, maybe they had their coffee, maybe not. But I could tell the physical body language was just like that kind of deal. And I just observed them. And I went, oh, okay. I mean, they weren't not excited to be there, but they weren't quite excited completely with their whole being to be there. And so I kept watching. They went on. And then another couple of flight attendants got on. All 4 were ladies. And the 2 that came next had a different energy. Then one girl popped up to the thing and put her badge on the thing and went, oh, yeah, okay, blah, 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 blah. And I went, oh, that's a different energy. That's an energy that says, oh, I want to be here. Oh, yeah, let's go. Oh, I'm going to welcome you to my, it was beautiful to see. So it reminded me that as we go through our lives and we do something over and over and over again, they say it takes 10,000 times to become a master at anything or more. But I attest that if you put your heart and soul into mastering your lives, you'll be able to walk in a lighter way and be lighter about what you do, like the second set of flight attendants I saw come to that counter. And I got on the plane, and sure enough, it was true. The 2 that came on with that energy, everything was smooth for them, and they were making everything smooth for everyone else. So, pass on the gift of lightness and brightness, and know that you make a difference in your continence to everyone you come in contact with if you carry that feeling in your being. Share it.
Amen. One last question, and we'll try to make this as quick as possible because I know you have a lot of photos and autographs to take. Your fan says, while I admire your acting, I admire you most as a human, always positive and energetic. In a world where it is easy to become cynical and entitled, you remain a bright light. They go on to say, I know you practice some form of yoga. Could you expand on that for someone needing help finding their center?
First of all, thank you for that wonderful observation, or just the observation for whatever it is. To find your center, I suggest that we all slow down. To slow down a little bit and not operate off the energetic hum and buzz of our electronics, which are always in our hand, our computers, which are always in front of our face, we're able to take moments of silence. Our world is filled with things that get our attention. When do we get our attention? When do we get a chance to take care of ourselves? I practice yoga because it allows me to breathe. And in between those breaths, my thoughts will come up. When I breathe, my senses get heightened. My ears can hear more. My vibration gets lifted because I become more attentive to what's going on inside. To me, it's that abiding in eternal energy and a practice that is medicine. And it becomes a medicine I can't live without because it focuses me and allows me to be present. Silent prayer could be the same. Chanting could be the same. Sufi dancing and praise could be the same. But it's ways of honoring the God or goddess within you, no matter what you believe, what religion you are from. It is the practice of calming and silence and intention that links you to the depth of your own soul, which will allow you to then start to ask, how am I today? What is my mission? Do with me what you will is my silent prayer to the God and Goddess. Because then you are allowing yourself to be lifted up by the higher essence and energy of the universe. It becomes about a bigger portion of your spirit that we need. You need. And it's giving the ultimate gift to yourself, and that's the gift of mastery, love, kindness, compassion, and caring for yourself enough to center and be calm and be relaxed in any given situation or circumstance. So for me, it ultimately allows me to be present in my life, out of my ego, into my heart, out of my brain, into the essence of what I think we all are looking for. I want to be loved, but I didn't realize that there was no love for me unless I loved myself. And that's where it begins. Be yourself, love yourself.
Giancarlo, thank you so much for being with us. You got a lot of people to do. San Antonio, make some noise. Be sure to catch him, taking photos, autographs today. Don't go anywhere. Come up next, our Sailor Untitled.